been listening to the headlines lately, then you know the overriding theme is still about the economy. We might not be able to do much about how governments are handling things, but there are things that we can do to control our own household budgets. Part of that means being prepared for events in our lives that could wipe us out financially. Our first guest today went from a plumber's wife to a business builder, but she almost sank her family business. She wants to share the lessons she learned with the rest of us. Please welcome the author of Where Did the Money Go? Question a lot of us ask, and president of Bare Bones Biz, Ellen Rohr. Hi, Ellen.
Hi.
Before we get these money tips, you shared something with me. You said your son is how old?
He's 26, and he still makes a homemade card.
Oh,
yeah.
Those are the things that are priceless, aren't they?
I know, I do. The last one was a PDF, but it's still a homemade card.
Yeah. All right, let's go into a little bit of your background, because, you know, it's the experience that makes us richer, and when you fail, it can make you richer.
Yes.
So you were the plumber's wife.
Well, and I had a real job, but my husband's partner died. So you can find yourself suddenly single in a business situation, too. So I quit my real job. I went to work with him, and I'm educated. I have a college degree, and I
What could go wrong, right?
I still almost sank the family business because I didn't know my asset from my elbow. So that's what we're going to learn today.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, starting with the things that you call the 3 Ds.
Well, the 3 Ds can change everything, and that's death, disaster, and disability.
Yeah.
So those, or divorce.
Yeah,
Sorry,
divorce
that's
can
the
be
3
4
Ds.
Ds.
There's all kinds of Ds.
Yeah.
But divorce can be all of a sudden you're suddenly single, and then what do you do? So today I don't want to scare anybody. I just want to take the charge off of it. Why don't you find out how much money you have,
because
how much you owe.
A lot of the problem that a lot of us have is some of us just don't understand money.
Right.
But it's also uncomfortable to think about those 3 or 4 Ds that you talked about.
Right.
Because that's not going to happen in my life.
Right, so let's just tone the emotion down, get a little practical about it, and let's figure out how much money you have.
Yeah, so you mentioned add up what it would cost for you to live without that other person's income, or the expense you'd have to go through to deal with that D, whatever that D is.
Right, so let's start with knowing what you have. And the form that we use to describe what you have is called the balance sheet. Now, most of the weird thing about accounting is just the language, so let's define that.
Yeah.
Okay, the balance sheet describes what you have, that's your assets, equals what you owe plus what you own, liabilities and equity. So will you help me demonstrate?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to pretend you're a set of scales.
Okay.
All right, so like the law of the universe, what comes around goes around. If you have something, how did you get it? That's the balance sheet equation.
Right.
All right, so we're going to add up all your assets. We'll make a list of them.
Okay.
Now, my 7-year-old nephew made this, house and property.
That's a big, nice house. Look at that.
There you go, there you go.
Any house that has to have a flag right in the yard is an estate.
Adorable?
Yeah.
So how much is that worth? Start adding it up. So start adding up what you have. What do you have for cash? You throw that in there.
So does this side of the scale go higher or lower?
Well, that's going to go down.
It's going to go down, okay.
Because it's got weight on it.
Okay.
There you go. All right, and then like you like diamonds, add up your jewelry, girlfriend. There you go. Add up your jewelry, your collections, maybe your car. Now your assets make the scale go out of balance.
Yeah.
So how did you get those assets? Well, if you have a car and you have a house, maybe you have a little bit of debt.
Yeah.
Okay, so add up your debt.
Okay,
that's your liabilities.
Do this, yeah.
Assets equals liabilities, and then the difference is your equity. So if you add up all that you have and subtract what you owe, that's what you own. And that's the balance sheet. Is this easy?
Yeah.
It's easy peasy. So now we're in balance.
I gotta say, when you do it like this, you know, it may seem elementary, but that's the point.
Yeah.
For you to be able to see it. Some people are more visual. You're right. When you use those terms, they kind of get in our head, and you just kind of blank over.
You know, if you think, oh, I don't like the money, it's too complicated, get over it. And that I fussed about it in my own family business for about a year before I finally went, okay, I'll figure it out. And then I was kind of embarrassed that I made such a big deal out of it.
But the other thing that you say is you should pool your money or keep it separate. Which one?
Well, for some people...
By the way, speaking of pooling some money.
There you go. Where is that going?
Sure, you brought that. Okay. All right. Pooling your money or keeping it separate.
It's up to you to make a decision, but you've got to know. Like we were talking before we came on board, my mother didn't know our family's financial situation until my dad lost his fortune. And if she'd only known, she was actually a really good money manager once she decided to lay claim to her power.
Well, that's what a lot of women find, mostly women find in a divorce situation, is that where is the money?
Where is the money? So why don't you have the conversation? In fact, sometimes You got to put on your big panties.
Yeah, big girl panties.
All right,
Okay,
put on
big
your
boy panties, big girl panties. Yes.
Because that's what it takes sometimes to have the conversation about,
Really?
okay.
How did you take those out of my drawer? Rifling through my lingerie, my gosh. Okay.
So have the conversation before it becomes an issue. What are we going to do about the money? And you know, no matter how bleak the financial situation is, you can always make it better, especially if you'll lay claim to your power and maybe consider bringing more money into the family. You know, we hear a lot about budgeting and deprivation and tightening the belt. I'm here to suggest that you could put more money into the family.
Yeah, and you don't have to be Steve Jobs or Bill Gates to do that. It can be little things.
Yeah.
You know, it is those baking the little cookies type thing and selling them wherever people would buy them.
A business of your own, now this is something to write down. If you charge more than it costs to create your products and services, you manufacture money out of nothing. Your assets go up, your equity goes up, you're not beholden to anyone for it.
Yeah.
And that's how you create more in your life. And it's easier than you may think. I'm here to encourage you, if you have an idea to start your business, go for it.
The other thing you say is to find a mentor.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, yes. That's an amen. Right?
Yeah, amen.
So find a mentor so you don't feel like you're alone.
Find a mentor, because there's all sorts of exciting stories. Dead or alive, you can find a mentor. Sometimes really smart people write books. Barbara Corcoran is one of our favorites. Barbara Corcoran's on the Shark Tank. I was so happy to see her there. Her story is really inspiring. Once upon a time, she borrowed $1,000 from an abusive boyfriend. She begged him for $1,000 to start her business, and she turned it into a billion-dollar empire.
Yeah.
Right? She paid him back right away, first thing, but she was willing to lay claim to, I don't need him, I do need a business, and I am going to get my life back on track. Very inspiring.
Jim Rohn also has a
Jim
good story.
Rohn, no, Jim Rohn, he passed away, and he is one of my mentors, but he has a really great story. He talks about this woman who came to one of his seminars, and she asked her husband for $10, and he said, "What for?" And she said, "I will never do that again." And so she started her own business. I think she got rid of that husband.
Yeah, right. So there's it's just empowering yourself and no more making the excuse that, oh, I just don't know about all that money stuff. That's not what I do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be difficult, which is what your book actually proves. But yeah, seriously, a lot of us ask, where did the money go? We should know where every dime, hard-earned dime goes.
And it's a skinny book with pictures. This stuff is not that hard.
Yeah. All right, well, some of our audience members are going home with one of Ellen's books. We'll draw a couple of names right now. One is going to Eva Odina Lewis. You're getting one. There you go.
Yay!
And Pamela Odima. Pamela, you're getting one as well, so you can know where every dime goes. Thank you so much.
It's been so much fun.
Opening our mind to start, if we haven't already. I think a lot of us have been forced into it with our current economic situation to really kind of focus a little more on where our money goes.
And more fun, less deprivation, just more money all around.
Yeah. All right. To learn more about Ellen, you can log on to greatdayhouston.com and where to get her books. After the break,